What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to talk about the overall market and also break down some very important things about Tesla. I want to talk about some things that analysts are saying that are very, very huge for Tesla going into next week, not to mention Tesla's future for the long term. But just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention an 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. The offer ends in just 3 days. Anyways, for Tesla, we're holding up very, very well so far. I mentioned to everyone that despite this head and shoulders like structure, we had to lose 250 to turn more bearish on Tesla. And to be bullish, you want to see it just continue to hold up in this range. I mentioned to you all to watch 255. If that broke, we're looking for basically 258 and then 260 as our targets. That's almost exactly where Tesla ended up going to, holding at these levels. So why did Tesla outperform the market all of a sudden? Why did Tesla start to push while the market is slowing down? The answer is we got some bullish news. Dan Ives just came out today and he said that he believes Tesla is going to beat Wall Street's 462,000 estimate for deliveries, and they're basically seeing around 465 to 470,000 deliveries in total, if not as much as over 470,000, under the assumption that the Chinese sales are really, really strong. So we don't know for sure about that, but he's saying 465 to 470,000 is most likely what it's going to be like, if not 470,000. Now, as far as the Chinese sales go, we do have another bullish catalyst. Tesla announced that they're going to be extending the time at which they're going to maintain 0% interest rates at buying Teslas until the end of October. So this is incentivizing a lot more people to buy those cars for very, very cheap interest. That's very, very useful for Tesla, and that's making people very excited. He's also saying that Tesla is going to not only beat deliveries, but the mojo's back for them as a company. So it's very, very exciting to see news just like this. So there's a lot of talk about deliveries. He also mentioned that Tesla should reach 1.8 million deliveries for the year if it manages to report a beat in Q3. So Q3 is going to be pivotal for their overall sales. And that's why it's very important they do well in this one to hit that target, in Dan Ives' opinion. I do agree with him on that. It's going to be a very, very important deliveries report nonetheless. So what do I see for the share price? So what happened was Tesla was a little bit weak in the morning, but then once that news came out, we saw Tesla start to push with the Chinese news about their interest rates being low, and then the news from Dan Ives being very bullish on deliveries. I think it didn't show it here, but I think I read that he also has a $300 price target on Tesla. I'm not seeing it in this article, but I did see him mention that earlier. Oh, actually, it's right over here. Sorry about that, guys. Right here, he says he's an outperform rating, and there's a $300 price target. So here it is. So once again, he's saying Tesla's going to go to $300. So that's very, very bullish. That's why Tesla's been outperforming the market. So that's a very, very good piece of news. So Tesla has 260 as resistance, and our support's at 258 right now. If that fails us, we're looking for a 256 near the 20 EMA, followed by 254. If that fails us, we could be tipping down to these lows all over again. But overall, we're holding it very, very well. Because this news came out, Tesla's once again doing better than the market. It's outperforming it now. And I think we could see a lot of shuffling between 258 to 260. And I think that if the market dips a little bit lower, we could get closer to 256 again. But overall, I think Tesla's going to hold up decently now, especially after this bullish news came out. Now, SPY, on the other hand, is looking kind of weak because we ended up losing our support at that 572 area. I give everyone a warning that there is tough resistance at that 573 to 575 area. Now we're barely holding our 20 EMA. This is going to be our 570 support. If we lose 570, there's going to be a risk of us dumping to 568. If we hold 570, we could try to rebound. We'll see about that for next week, but just know that there's a little bit of weakness right here. Now we're touching the trend line again, this major support, and we're just barely holding 570, so be careful with SPY. It's showing a lot of weakness right now after getting this big rejection. We pumped and dumped after PCE data came out, so just be very mindful of that. On ES, we're actually starting to lose this support. We haven't closed yet, and we're not officially closing on the 4-hour time frame yet. So we're waiting to see how this candle is going to look like. We're currently below 57.94, which is not a good sign. There is a risk of more downside if it continues to hold below this. So be careful, guys. There's a risk of downside on the markets. Nvda, I was talking about how this thing could be dipping all the way down to about 118. We haven't reached that yet, but I think we could be dipping closer. We have a head and shoulders like structure, and there's a little bit of weakness here. So 118 becomes a strong possibility. If that fails us, we're looking for 116 to fill the imbalance, but we still are showing signs of weakness. For Bitcoin, We pumped to 66,500, rejected. We could be dipping all the way down to about 65,400, followed by lower levels like 64,800. So it could be a rejection here, a little bit of a dip that's coming to the lower 65,000 area. So be careful with Bitcoin. There could be some downside. For the NQ chart, we're losing this key support. We're starting to lose our 20 EMA because if we end up closing below 20,250 on this candle, we could be dipping all the way down to 20,000 flats. There's going to be a risk of downside. Like I said about the QQQ, I called out 485. We actually touched the 485s today, so it did go to my targets, and we're at critical support right now. If we lose the 485s, we're looking for 482, then 480. There's some weakness building on this chart, so we'll see if that holds. But nonetheless, there is a risk of more downside. For other stocks out there like Apple, we're starting to dip. I did call out to 230, and I said we might reject off that. I said to watch this support right over here. We're looking at 226 as support, followed by 225. We could dip a little bit more as the market is slowing, so be very mindful of that. For the IWM, we got this rejection. I called out 222 as a key level. I said we could reject there. That's going to be a tough resistance. And we're coming down. So if we're not going to hold 220, we're going back down to 218s. If the 218s don't hold us, that's when we can start dipping. So we'll see if 220 holds. If not, we're likely going all the way down to 218. For Coinbase, we pumped all the way up to my target. I was talking about 188. We actually went above my target. So it actually went up to about 192, but we might dip below 188. We'll have to see if we hold above that or not. That's going to be our resistance at the 4-hour 200 EMA. So it might dip to 188 and consolidate. For Amazon, we're testing resistance at 188. If that breaks, we're looking for 190. If we don't hold this, we could be dumping all the way down to 185. For Meta, we're also kind of consolidating. If we end up losing 564, we could be dipping all the way down towards the 560 area. If we bounce off this, we're looking for 570. I think we could be dipping lower, so just watch and see how this ends up going. For Microsoft, we're on a bit of a downtrend right here. If we don't hold 429, we're at risk of dipping all the way down to like 426. And we have resistance at 431, so this might start to downtrend a bit, so be careful with Microsoft. For Google, we're just trading sideways right here within a range. We have resistance at this 166 area and support at 163.8. We could break out past 166 for Bullish to start pushing for 168. So it still looks pretty good as long as you hold a 165 or barely holding that. So give it some time. If 165 holds, I think we could still bounce next week. So it still has potential. Tesla's holding up very nicely. We'll see how it reacts to 260. And then above 260, we have the highs that are going to be retested all the way up to 262 or so. But like I said before, it's going to be a tough resistance on Tesla. I think we could outperform the market, continue to hold up. We might see a lot of consolidation between 258 and 260 for some time. It could go a little higher later on, but the main thing that's happening is the market's slowing, and this is what's kind of like slowing Tesla down a little bit. Otherwise, it could have made a lot more progress. So that's what I'm seeing for the time being. Otherwise, guys, just let it to be known that Tesla has potential, especially going into next week. It's holding up very well. And the next week is going to be very big with deliveries coming out. I believe they come out on like Tuesday. I'll double check that, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. So we'll see how it ends up going for them. So that's going to be very, very key for us. Sorry, I think deliveries will be coming out on Wednesday, not Tuesday, on Wednesday. But anyways, that's it for my video. Tesla's doing a good job at holding up. The market is showing some weakness, and Tesla's outperforming. We got some good analyst ratings, good reviews. So we'll see how the future goes for Tesla. But just know that for now, Tesla should hold up very, very well. Thanks again, and peace out.